everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Claire-Marie Kooi, and I am the Student Engagement Programs Manager in Engineering Student Services, or ESS. And ESS is really a hub of support for engineering students and has lots of people and resources to make sure that you thrive during your time at UC Berkeley. UC Berkeley is this really large school, but we really want to make sure that students get individualized support and help. So before we get started, I'd like to make one announcement. For all the nuclear engineering majors out there, we'd like to highlight an event that is not on the main Cal Week page. There will be a nuclear engineering information session this Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And you can register for this event at engineering.berkeley.edu/Cal Week 2021. So without further ado, I will introduce our amazing panelists for today. We have Eileen Figueroa, who is a sophomore civil engineering major from Cathedral City, California. We have Vishrut Rana, who is a junior industrial engineering and operations research major from Dubai, UAE. We have Mohammed, who is a junior mechanical engineering major from La Mesa, California. Gio Morales, who is a sophomore electrical engineering and computer science major from Sacramento, California. Leslie Gomez, who is a senior bioengineering major from Galt, California. And last but not least, Nick G, who is a senior mechanical engineering major from New Jersey. So we have students from a wide range of majors here and at different stages of their academic careers. So make sure that you ask lots of questions. They have been involved in things like research and internships and student organizations. So you can ask lots of questions. So as all of your questions come in, I'm going to start with Gio and Vishrut and asking what made them select Berkeley Engineering? Why did you want to join the Berkeley Engineering family? So Gio, would you like to start?
Yeah, so actually it was a bit of a funny story because I actually applied to colleges and there was one college I really wanted to go to. But unfortunately, I saw the tuition and it just wasn't going to really happen financially. So then I was invited to an overnight program to stay at Berkeley for, I believe, 4 days and 3 nights, the Raíces Summer Bridge overnight program. And I just got to meet students and people and faculty. I met the person who I would decide to become roommates with the following year. I'm going to become roommates with him again next year. I made so many friends over like a 4-day period. I just fell in love with Berkeley. And so really for me about Berkeley and Berkeley Engineering is just the people that you meet and the people here that are so focused on doing and creating and, being something that really drove me to come here and really made me fall in love with Berkeley. So that's kind of why I came. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you so much, Gio. That's amazing, and just amazing that you were able to build these really close friendships as well. So Vishrut, would you like to go next?
Sure. So as Claire mentioned, I was an international student and I applied to colleges all across the country. But when I started getting my acceptance offers, Berkeley was a clear frontrunner, and there were a lot of factors behind that. One being the intellectual stimulation in the area. Just being such a tech hub was amazing, and I wanted to be a part of that environment. As an operations research student myself, there were huge opportunities that I wanted to cash in on. The professors were amazing. I read some of their profiles on the website, and I was like, wow, they're doing some really cool stuff. It would be awesome to take classes with them. And I was also lucky enough to visit the campus a couple of years before I actually came in to school, and I really fell in love with the city in general. It was the right amount of urban and access to natural areas around the city. So that was amazing as well. Like San Francisco is a 30-minute drive away, but there's also so many hiking trails that are just like a 20-minute walk from the campus. So I really loved the vibe around the campus, and all of that just fell into place perfectly for me to come to Berkeley as a student.
Thank you so much, Vishrut. That's amazing. Yeah, the campus is just really beautiful as well. So we have some questions coming in. We have lots of questions for all of you. So we're going to start with, what resources are there to help engineering undeclared students decide what major they want to go into? Are there programs, classes, etc.? So this is really just about exploring your major. So Leslie, do you think you could help talk about how students can explore the different majors?
Yeah, I think every department has a sort of seminar class where people, where professors talk about their research, and also they have guests from their industries come in and talk about what they do. I know in bioengineering, there's a couple that we're required to take as bioengineering majors, but you can also take it as whatever major you are. So that's a good way to see what major you're interested in. It's a good 1 or 2 unit class, and it's not a lot of work. So that's a good way to explore.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, the seminar classes, you get access to a lot of different faculty members and you can learn about different majors. So that's wonderful. And Nick G, do you have anything to add to that on just exploring your major?
Yeah, I mean, exploring your major, I think a big part of it is just meeting older students and kind of figuring out what path that they took and what traditional paths in each major, specializations. So getting a chance to take those intro courses or upper division courses and meeting older students definitely helps explore your major even more.
Thank you so much. Yeah, there's mentorship opportunities at UC Berkeley. There's opportunities when you join a student organization to get to know students that are a little bit older and from a variety of different majors. So those are great points. Thank you. So how do you balance your academics and student organizations? And I'm going to go to Mohammed for this question.
So for me, the way that I've done it is all of the organizations that I'm involved in, they're kind of like a stress reliever for me. So balancing my academics and organizations is really not a problem, because if I'm doing a lot of homework or I got a lot to do, I got midterms that week, the organization is my break time, because the organizations that I'm involved in, I have a great time with them. It doesn't feel like I'm doing work. It's not really a lot of it's not really that stressful. It's more of a I'm doing this for fun. I love to do this. I'm involved in a couple organizations. One of them, we build little battle bots, and I think that's really exciting. And some of the other ones is just community organizations like BESA, the Black Engineering Scientist Student Association. And we just have meetings where we just talk and just have a good time and try to build community. But yeah, balancing my academics and student organizations is really easy when the organizations that you're involved in is something that you're actually passionate about, or just something that you're actually having fun in. So I think just finding the right student organizations is the key.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. Yeah, we have hundreds of student organizations on campus, so you can find something that really, connects to your interests. And Eileen, would you like to add anything to that on how to balance academics and student organizations?
Yeah, I think going based off of what Mohammed just said, I'm also involved in a few student organizations, some that are related more to being an engineer, and others that are just kind of to build a community with just students from all majors all around Berkeley. And yeah, we have events that are meet faculty, meet these companies. So it's more on the academic side, but at the same time, those companies are making sure that they include some social nights where you kind of just make time to have let's have a virtual movie night or a game night. And sometimes they give incentives. So it's a lot of the times, most of the organizations around Berkeley, because there are so many, there really is, they make sure that you get some benefits from it, such as we're going to have someone talk about financial aid today. So that'll help you learn a little bit more of what to expect financially, how the financial aid system works. But then besides professional events, you also have these de-stressing events, just these times you can put in your schedule and say, okay, I'm going to put all my schoolwork aside and just kind of de-stress and have fun and just talk to people to socialize.
Thank you so much, Eileen. What I'm hearing is that these student organizations are a stress relief. So it's not something that's added on your plate, but it's really a source of community. So we have another question. It's how hard is it to get involved in undergraduate research in general? How hard is it as a freshman? So I'm going to go to Leslie for this question.
Yeah, for bioengineering majors, I would say it's not super difficult. I'm not sure about other majors, but I'm lucky enough to be involved in the BioESP program. I was admitted into it when I was admitted into Cal, and that program set me up with summer research for the summer after my freshman year. So I was assigned a lab to work in, and that summer experience extended to 2 years of experience. So for me, that really worked out well. And I feel like even if you're not in BioESP or if you're in a different major, if you reach out to professors, reach out to graduate students to see like what they're working on. If you're on a website for a professor's lab and you see a project that you're interested in, just reach out. It doesn't hurt to tell them like, hey, I'd like to do research in your lab, or I'd just like to talk to you about your research. A lot of times they're very willing to do that, especially graduate students. So I don't think it's super hard. Berkeley is a very research-based school, and if you reach out to people, you will find something.
Thank you, Leslie. And yes, we have lots of freshman students who are doing research on campus. And would anyone else like to speak to the research aspect?
I think I can add a little bit of my experience. So once you come to Berkeley, you'll hear about a lot of programs that actually facilitate undergraduate research. I think there's a website called research.berkeley.edu where you'll find all those resources. Those are great. I know a lot of friends who've been able to be involved in research through those resources. But in my experience, I sort of realized that I'd be more successful if I reached out to professors myself. As Leslie mentioned, there was one professor whose work I was very keen on being involved in. So I just messaged them and told that I'm interested in what you do. Can I please be a part of your research group? Of course, as an undergraduate student, they wouldn't know where exactly your skills lie. So they might start giving you not very challenging responsibilities. But if you're doing them pretty well, then gradually your stake will tend to grow and you'll start being more heavily involved in the research project. So that's essentially what happened with me. And there's no reason that other professors wouldn't be willing to do that, because I've heard that story happen with a lot of other people also.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. Yeah, and there's these opportunities to do research over several years. So that's great. So what does the first 2 years for an EEC student look like? So I'm going to go to Gio, our EEC student on the call. What do the first 2 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. So especially in the College of Engineering, the EEC program is designed to be completed in 3.5 years. Typically, people spend 4 years, which means that gives you kind of an extra semester of breathing room, actually. So really, the first 2 years, you can really take them at whatever pace you want. Some people spend those first 2 years just kind of getting acquainted with computer science, taking, 1 or 2 classes, 1 or 2 dedicated CS classes the most every semester. Some people like to rush it, and very much they're taking upper division courses by their sophomore year, really. So it is kind of, you take it at your own pace, but generally what you're going to be doing is you're going to start with this series of classes called the 61 series, which kind of gives you a survey into all aspects of computer science. High-level computer science with high-level programming languages, low-level computer science. I'm taking a class right now called 61C, which is kind of the end of the 61 series, and that's, learning how electricity causes the lights on your screen to flash, right? The basic, very basic stuff. And so that's essentially what you're going to be focusing on. Afterwards, after those first 2 years, you get to take more focused classes, things like AI, things like machine learning, database architecture, that kind of stuff. So that's what you're going to be looking at.
Thank you so much, Gio. That was a great answer. So we'll move on to the next question. This is, what is the average class size of upper division engineering classes? So I'll go to Nick G for that one.
Yeah, so the average class size of like some lower division classes like math and physics, they tend to be like pretty large. But as soon as you start specializing and going into your upper division classes, they tend to be pretty small. Personally, I've had classes with like less than 20 students. So it's a good time.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, so some of those intro classes can be larger, but as you get into those upper division classes, they get a lot smaller. So you get to know the people in your classes really well, and also the faculty and GSIs. So let's see here. So how's the workload at Berkeley Engineering? So let's start with Eileen on that one.
So the workload in most of the classes I've taken so far, I have weekly assignments. So it's like you're gonna be busy because you most likely are gonna have homeworks. Some classes like to do quizzes, or if not, they stay more with midterms. In a week, like in a regular week for me at least, like I said, I have homework for every class. So I am busy, but I'm not staying up till like, well, this is just me. Other people have different sleeping schedules or working schedules. I am someone who can wake up like at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., but I'm asleep by like midnight. So it's not like I'm staying up till like 4 a.m. to finish assignments. And also throughout my week, I have time to sometimes just get up and go hiking or spend time with my family. So it's not like, yes, the academics at Berkeley can be rigorous, but it's not like you're studying 24/7 and it's not like you're studying 24/7 and you don't have free time, because in reality you do. Some weeks are less stressful than others could be. So like normally throughout my semester, it's pretty relaxed up until like I have my first midterm, because then that's when it's like I need to study for this. This makes up a very big portion of my grade and I need to do well. So it's like there's like this week of like, it's kind of just like, okay, I need to study as much as I can. But then after the midterms are over, it's like, okay, like I can relax a bit more and find these times to do things that I enjoy. And so you really don't have to be studying. It's not like you're studying 24/7 and you don't have any free time. So that's what I would say on the workload.
Thank you, Eileen. Yeah, so there's this balance, right? Amazing. So we're going to go to Vishbrut to answer this question as well.
Thank you. So I'll start off by saying this, that Berkeley Engineering is difficult. That if anyone says it's easy, they're probably lying. But the fact is that it works out for everyone. And if you give yourself the first semester to just get accustomed to what the rigor of Berkeley Engineering is, it will work out for you. As high school students right now, thinking about college is probably not, or thinking about workload in college classes is not the best thing in my opinion, because it's so different from what you do in high school. So just give yourself the first semester, get used to what professors' styles of teaching are, and then you will figure out for yourself how much workload you can commit to every semester, what kind of classes you can take. Because honestly, even classes vary from one to another. You wouldn't have the same format of classes. Like Eileen mentioned weekly assignments. I have some classes like that, but I have some classes where assignments are just 5 over the course of the semester. So they're longer assignments, but they work differently. So my long story short, as an advice as a junior student at Berkeley would be, give yourself the first semester to understand what workload works for you, because you can always structure your classes to, fit that mold for yourself.
Thank you, Vishru. That's great advice. Yeah, give yourself time to transition. That's important, and really build that support network around you. We're all here to support you. So this is for the mechanical engineers on the call. So what does the curriculum and course load look like? And what has been your experience with being a mechanical engineering student at Berkeley? So I'm going to go to Mohammed for that question.
Yeah. The curriculum and course load, there's a flow chart that you can find online of the mechanical engineering curriculum. It just goes through every semester, telling you every class that you need to take, and then where there's like a little bit of, I guess, leeway, it just says like a tech electives, and you could decide which tech electives you want to take. There's multiple tech electives. You can get concentrations in different fields. There's one of the newer concentrations is an aerospace concentration. And yeah, what was the second part of that question, Claire?
What has your experience been like as a mechanical engineering student?
So far, it's been the first 2 years, most of the classes that you take, they're similar to what everyone else in the College of Engineering takes, right? You take the physics, you take the chemistry, you take the math. The only differences, I believe, are the E25, E26 that is, or E29 now, and it's the design courses. But so far, as a mechanical engineering student, I think I've really enjoyed my time. I think they say mechanical engineering has like the most like courses, right? But I feel like I don't think I wouldn't say it feels that way, since like the tech electives, you can choose what you want to take. And right now I'm taking like a composites course, and I think it's pretty interesting. So like, yeah. But to answer that question, what has my experience as a mechanical engineering student been? So far, so good, I'd say. And I think it only gets better from here, since next year is going to be my last year, and I'm going to be taking like some of the what I think are cooler classes. It's like the mechatronics design class, and I'm a UAV class and I think the final project for that is like making a UAV. I think that's pretty cool. But so yeah, I think so far so good, and it's only going to get better from here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mohammed. And I will go to Nick as well to answer this question.
Yeah, sure. So Mohammed is right. I'm pretty sure we do have like the most classes, but the department is working on changing that, such as condensing E25, 26, 27 down to just E29. In terms of like how does it feel, I would say it does feel like we have just. I agree with Mohammed that it doesn't feel like we have like so many classes because they're numbered like 104, 106, 108, 109. So it just kind of feels like, you take 2 of these every semester. They're on a elective and something else. So it's honestly quite fun. I've personally taken a lot of the electives already, and like I've gone over the amount that we have to take. And again, the electives are like fun courses. So mechanical engineering is kind of just fun in itself here. I will say though, it really it depends on sometimes who you interact with. If you have like a good friend group going into each class, it definitely makes it a big difference.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, there's lots of opportunity to explore within mechanical engineering, so that's wonderful. So we have another question. When did you start looking for internships, and what helped you get those internships? So I'm going to actually open this one up to anybody that wants to share about their internship search.
Yeah, definitely. Internships are definitely a great experience. So if that's something that you're interested in, I definitely would encourage you to pursue that. It is kind of hard because there's many places to find internships. Some good ones are LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn, you can set it up so that you'll just get recommendations go to your email, like I do. That you can apply to those regularly. Also, if you have a specific company in mind that you would really want to work for, you can just Google them and Google their name, internship, and that'll usually lead to a link on their website and maybe go to their portal. On top of that, we also have a website called Handshake. So for the Berkeley Handshake, it's all internships that are looking for Berkeley students, right? Which means it's probably a little bit easier to get those internships because, they're signed up on the Berkeley Handshake. They want you guys. So I think those are all definitely different resources. Additionally, if you meet upperclassmen that also have internships that sound interesting, you can just ask them, hey, could you refer me? Could you shoot me the link to that? And then you can also ask them questions as well. Did I fully answer the question, or am I missing something?
That was a wonderful answer. Thank you, Gio. Yeah, and you have to network. You have to get to know people as well. That's an important part of it, either whether that's through LinkedIn or whether that's through your classmates or alumni. So we're going to go to our next question, which is about civil engineering. Excuse me. So Eileen, can you speak about civil engineering special projects or research and travel abroad opportunities?
So I can't speak. I don't have too much information about that, but I know that there is many travel abroad experiences or opportunities, we have this study abroad like kind of program within Berkeley that it's very easy to kind of like compare your schedule and see like what you like, if you have the space or which classes you could potentially take elsewhere. I know that you can get in contact with them early. So if studying abroad is something that you really do plan on doing, you can go to their office, kind of contact them, let them know what your current plan is, what classes you've taken, like kind of when you want to graduate. So giving them all the basics, so then they can figure out like, okay, maybe it would be best if you like try studying abroad like this semester, but if you want to do it this semester, you probably have to like take a bit more courses in your other semesters just so you can graduate in the time you'd like. If like projects and just other civil engineering opportunities, I think that this goes back to the previous like research question that was asked. You really have to, if you're interested in what one of your professors is doing and they have a project going on, or even like a graduate student, at this point, it really becomes, if you're the one interested, you're the one that needs to speak up, because if you don't email them and let them know that you're interested and want to be part of their team, then, well, there's like everyone has said, there's so many students at Berkeley, so you kind of have to make that known and make yourself known to the professor, the graduate student. So at that point, it really becomes like you kind of need to do a bit more of your research and see what different faculty is researching, what projects they have. And then from there, it's like, okay, this somewhat seems interesting to me. I want to learn more about it. So like you send an email saying that, or if you know, like from the description that you're interested, you just let them know, like, I'm really interested in being a part of your team. Like, what can I do to like make that come true?
Thank you so much, Eileen. That was an amazing answer. So we have a lot of major specific questions. So I'm actually going to go to the bioengineering question. How does the bioengineering concentration work? What's the difference between having a concentration and not having a concentration? Does it increase research opportunities?
I'll start with the last part. I wouldn't say it increases your research opportunities. So what a lot of students don't know is that you don't actually have to declare bioengineering concentration. It's kind of just a guide for yourself to see like what classes you like to take. And in the Bio department, there's 4 different concentrations. There's cell and tissue engineering, which is the one I'm doing, biomedical devices, biomedical imaging, and synthetic biology. And I would say the most popular one is probably biomedical devices. But those are just guides so that you can see like what kinds of classes you want to take. But they really don't increase like your chances of research. It's like I said, it's just kind of so you see what classes you want to take, what research you're more interested in. But you don't have to worry about declaring it at any point. I'm doing the cell and tissue engineering concentration, but I've also taken some classes in the devices area. So it's not really something that you have to like stay in your concentration.
Thank you, Leslie. So we have a question here about what resources are available for first generation students. So I'm going to open this up as well to anybody that wants to share.
Yeah, I can share a bit about this. So within the College of Engineering, Claire puts on the First Generation Mentor Program, which is a great program for first generation students. You get paired up with another first generation student who is a year older or maybe a couple years older, who's an older student than you are. And they have we have weekly meetings with our mentors and mentees, and they're just, so that's one. And just around, I believe that's one that I can think of right now. I'm sure there are others if anyone else would like to speak on that.
That's amazing. Thank you, Mohammed. Yes, we do put on the First Generation Mentor Program to help support students. Does anybody else want to share?
Along with the First Generation Mentor Program, over the summer, there is the prep program for everyone in this College of Engineering, which I assume is not everyone here. An amazing program, the prep program. It's a really incredible program. It's helped set up by people like Claire and then also Marvin and Tiffany, which are other people in the College of Engineering. And that program, you make lifelong friends. You get kind of a head start on your classes in a very safe environment. And because of that, the first few months of my first few courses were like not a breeze, but I definitely had a much drastically easier time because I was already experienced with the material and was with this program, which taught me the strategies to be successful in those classes and also more. The prep program also teaches you as a first generation student how to set up your resume, how to be at a networking event, how to shake someone's hand, those are details that you overlook and you might not see the importance. My mom never told me that, as a first generation, kid, but those skills are very important to be successful overall in your career. And I think the prep program is an amazing place to kind of learn that.
Thanks, Gio. Yes, the prep program, which is put on, which my colleague Tiffany Reardon runs, is an amazing program over the summer for 3 weeks. So thank you, Gio. So we're going to move on to our next question. So this is one of my concerns is that classes will be difficult. How do you de-stress and stay mentally healthy? So I am going to go to Vishrut for this one.
Sure. So like I mentioned in the start of this webinar, I really love the natural elements Berkeley has to offer all around the city. So whenever I have a lot of pending stuff and I know that I'm not in a great headspace to actually get it done, I just go out for a walk and I end up going to North Berkeley, Indian Rock Park, the Rose Garden, and all those places. They're amazing. The sunsets there are beautiful. However bad a day you've had, the sunset will just put a smile to your face. So that's one thing I definitely recommend. If you are a foodie like me, there's a lot of good restaurants around Berkeley as well. I'm lucky enough to live in downtown, which is essentially where most of the restaurants are clustered. But there's a spot in Southside as well, but we at downtown like the downtown restaurants more. No, they're all great. Check them out. There's some good restaurants, good food to try. And otherwise, I think Mohammed mentioned this, there's a lot of communities that are stress relievers, essentially, for most of us at campus. I am also on that boat. I love the organizations I'm a part of, and sometimes just having a break from your monotonous homework routine, just seeing a few friends ranting about the same struggles they're having in classes, that does help you feel good. You sort of realize that you're not alone, and other people are feeling the same way. So that uplifts me sometimes as well. So yeah, all of that in combination helps me keep sane.
Thank you, Vishrut. So I'm going to go to Nick as well for this question.
Yeah, sure. When school was in person and everything, right? I'm actually part of a fraternity, so a lot of my de-stress comes from events, and then a lot of student organizations also host big events like this where they literally dedicate a whole night to just having fun and meeting new people. So yeah, no, that's a great way to de-stress. Also, if you're into sports and things, there's a lot of club teams as well as just optimal sports opportunities nearby. If anyone's into golf, Tilden Golf Club is not too far from here, 5-minute drive, and it's perfect to go to the range or the course. It's fantastic to de-stress. But if you can't do that, mostly it's just been hanging out with friends and really finding that work-life balance, which is great.
Thank you, Nick. Yes, that work-life balance is so important. So I'm going to go to Mohammed for this question as well.
Yeah, so my first year, I just wanted to mention that we do have an esports organization on campus. My first year, I was involved in the Rocket League esports team for Berkeley. It's the Esports Center is like right next to the Foothill Dining Hall, and I think that was a great way to de-stress through my first year. So we have multiple competitive teams, or you could just go in there and just play games and just meet new people inside of the esports room. So I think that's another, if you're into video games, that's another way to de-stress.
Thank you, Mohammed. Yeah, there's lots of opportunities on campus and outside of campus as well. So we have a question about what resources are available for women in engineering. And I'd like to go to Leslie for this question.
There are a lot of organizations. There's like Society of Women Engineers. They do a lot of stuff for like girls in tech and a lot of like outreach events. And I would also say for me, I'm not in the Society of Women Engineers, but for me, just having friends that are also women in engineering is a really big support for me. So I was also in prep, and that's like my support system for women in engineering. But there's a lot of other resources. And also I would say Claire, Marvin, and Tiffany are great resources as well. So if you reach out to them for something, they'd happily help you find an organization or something that could help you. So if you just reach out to people, there's a lot of help.
Thank you so much, Leslie. And would anyone else like to add to this question? Awesome. So our next question is actually going to be about resources that are available on campus. So not for any specific group, but what resources do we have, especially through the CAEE for students? So I am going to go to, let's see, Mohammed for that question.
Yeah. So the Center for Access to Engineering Excellence, aka the CAEE, is it's a room within the engineering student services, and we have multiple services such as tutoring. The CAE offers tutoring. It offers, and when it was in person, we had snacks there. We had a snack closet. We have a success closet, which is if you ever need clothes, you have an interview, and you don't really have time to like go buy clothes or something. You come borrow some clothes from us, and then go do your interview and just bring it back whenever. So yeah, we offered many services, and we still offer some of the services, such as like we have like a borrowing system. We have calculators that you can borrow. So if you have a midterm and you need like a scientific calculator, you can borrow a scientific calculator. We have laptops that you can borrow if you don't have, if your laptop, there's something wrong with it and you need to like get homework done that week, you can borrow a laptop. And most of these services, like you can borrow just as long as you return it whenever. You can tell us when you want to return it, or eventually we're going to reach out to you and try to get the stuff back. But yeah, what the CAEE offers many services, and also during finals week or during the week before finals week, which we like to call a live week. It's a week without classes, and it's just for, I guess, review. It's called review week, I believe. But we like to call it a live week because typically many students are stressing that week and just studying for all their classes. But we like to host many events that are basically de-stress events. And some of the ones that I can remember off the top of my head right now are we had a party event, which is basically just we buy a lot of boba for everyone, and we just have like karaoke on the screen, and we just gather and just sing along and drink our boba. And I think that's a pretty cool event. But yeah, we offer many services, and just we also put on events for the community as well. So the CAE is definitely the place to be.
Thank you, Mohammed. And I'm going to go to Leslie for this question as well.
Yeah, I would just like to re-emphasize what Mohammed said. All of those services are free. I work as a tutor for the CAEE, and I tutor lower division classes and also upper division bioengineering classes. And The tutors that I work with, my peers, are really, really helpful. Like, even if sometimes I feel like people are afraid, because I was GSIs and professors were intimidating to me. But in the CAEE, you can find help, and they will like support you the whole way through. Even just that emotional support, it's wonderful. So I would definitely recommend going there if you need help with anything, with classes, with professional stuff. You will find help there.
Thank you so much, Leslie. So I'm actually going to go to Eileen for this question as well.
So the CAE just overall offers so much, and something else that they offer that hasn't been mentioned yet is something that are called deep dives. So instead of tutoring, where they just have like their hours and you can just log in and just go ask a tutor just a question you have, there's these things called deep dives where there's like an instructor for some classes, and every week they have kind of like a class. So at the moment, I'm one of the deep dive instructors for one of the math classes. And every week, I basically have like a review session. It's open to all students. So I normally prepare work based off the syllabus that's currently going on for that professor, for like that class. So I'm either reviewing what they just learned to help them understand a bit more, or sometimes depending on what the students want, I can go ahead. So I'm teaching them I'm like trying to teach them and give them examples about next week's material. So they're prepared, a bit more prepared when they're like introduced to it by their professor. So yeah, besides tutoring, where you kind of go and ask any questions you have at the moment, they also offer these deep dives where you might not have questions or might be shy to ask something, but the instructors or the people running these deep dives they kind of already have like some type of presentation prepared. So you don't have to ask questions. You can if you need more clarification on something or even have a follow-up, because sometimes I even help students with their homework after the review session, and if I ask if anyone has questions. But yeah, the CAE overall is really there for the students, and you can all the resources are there. It's just at this point, it's like you're the one that needs to show up to those, either to the CAE or just click a button and join the Zoom call to receive that extra help.
Thank you so much. Those are all really great answers. And yes, we have the CAEE. It's also known as the Center. And in addition to the tutoring and the success closet and the loaning out laptops, et cetera, we also put on a ton of workshops around academic, professional development, mental and physical wellness, and leadership. So we really want to build that community and provide you with all of the support that you need to really be successful at UC Berkeley. So we have some questions around advisors and how do you build those relationships with advisors, and what's the process even for meeting with advisors? So I will leave this one open to anyone that wants to talk about meeting with your advisors and building that relationship.
I think I can take this one. So at Berkeley Engineering, there's two kinds of advisors. One would be the ESS advisors who, as Claire mentioned earlier, fall under one of the services ESS offers. So they are essentially the ones who are responsible to make sure that you're meeting all your degree requirements, you're on the right academic path essentially to complete your degree. Meeting them is very straightforward. There's like a portal that you will get access to once, or maybe you already have access to, I'm not sure. You essentially just sign up for an appointment and you meet with them. They can help you with various kinds of questions, but usually it's a very safe space to discuss, plans for what class you want to take over the next few semesters, or if you want to do an internship, what kind of research you're thinking. And in my experience, advisors have been in fact, very helpful. They're very supportive of the decisions I've tried to make to sort of shape my major. So yes, ESS advisors are a great resource. The other kinds of advisors are major advisors who are housed in your specific department. Like I'm an IOR student myself, so I have an undergraduate major advisor in the department. I reach out to them to talk about, certain enrollment permissions I require, or to see, which professor would be teaching which class when, and get information like that, because they're generally in charge of enrollment related concerns. And if neither of those work out for you, like, you have a question that you think discussing with an adult is not so easy, ESS also offers a peer advising service, of which I myself am a part of. So you can reach out to peer advisors. Currently, we're working virtually. There's a link on the website that you'll have access to. And there you can ask any sort of questions. Since we are students as well, chances are that we would have gone through the same experience. So peer advisors can be a great resource also.
Thank you so much. That was a very thorough explanation of all of the different types of advisors that are available to students. So you want to make sure that you really go to a variety of advisors, and that way you have the support network that you need. So we are getting close to time. So I want to ask one final question. The final question is going to be, what advice would you give to yourself when you were just beginning your college journey? So I'm going to go to Eileen first for this question.
Okay, so I guess the advice I wish I would have given myself before was that things are going to be completely new. You're going to, like it's been said before, what you're doing in high school right now might be completely different from what you're going to be doing at Berkeley. But the thing is, everyone comes in like that, so we're all going to struggle. We're going to struggle in the beginning and even throughout, because like it's not easy being a College of Engineering student. It's not, classes get rigorous, but that's just it's like that all over. It's like that in Berkeley in general. So I think I was really hard on myself because I was coming from high school and getting straight A's, not having to study too much for my classes, coming into Berkeley and then taking like my first math quiz, which math is the subject I think I'm the best at out of all the other subjects, and me like not doing so great on that one quiz, just completely like, I was just so sad. I was just like, what did I get myself into? Like, I was just really like, I didn't know what to expect. I was very disappointed in myself because of that grade I received. But the thing is, you don't have to be as harsh. You don't have to be too harsh on yourself because, well, first of all, I wasn't expecting any type of quiz. I thought that my understanding from lecture would be enough to like help me ace that quiz, when in reality, I actually needed to put in a bit more work. And that wasn't something I learned until like midway first semester, because that when your first semester at Berkeley is like you're transitioning and you're kind of learning more about yourself. You're going to learn what works best for like how you should study first, either a quiz or a midterm. Like you're really going to learn the type of person you are and what you need to do in order to succeed. I think that would be one of the biggest things, because everyone comes in thinking, oh, like I did pretty well in high school. Yeah, it's Berkeley. It's going to be challenging, but like you don't know what to expect. But the thing is, everyone comes in like this. All first years, literally, it's your first year. It's going to be your first semester. You're all going to have that in common. It's not like just because you fail a quiz, you're like at the bottom of the class and you might fail a class. Like, no, that one quiz makes up maybe like just a few % of your entire grade. And then grades don't define you. In high school, I was like, I need to get straight A's. Like, this is my goal. And in Berkeley, yeah, I'm still trying to get not straight A's. I'm trying to get good grades that I feel I deserve because I put in the effort and I actually understand the material at this point. So I just think that really use your first semester as just like you're learning who you are and how to get like through your first semester. So really like take it slow. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Yeah, you still need to put in work. You can't just like, it's not going to be maybe as easy as you think, or I don't know what everyone thinks, but yeah, just don't be as harsh on yourself. There's so many resources as we've stated. So just really try to reach out, because you have a lot of support. The College of Engineering does a lot for their students, so you're never really alone. That's advice I guess I would give myself.
Thank you, Eileen. So we're going to go to Leslie as well for this question.
I have very similar advice as Eileen because I went through a very similar experience. In high school, I was my class salutatorian, and then when I came to Berkeley, I was barely able to pass my classes my first semester. But I think aside from like not being hard on yourself, just know that if you reach out for help, there will be help, and to not be afraid to talk about your experiences. Because my first semester, I was just thinking like, oh, I'm the only one going through this. Like all these people seem to know what they're doing. But in reality, when you talk to other people, they don't know what they're doing either. So even just like being open to talking about your experiences, being a little vulnerable, you'll realize that a lot of other people are going through the same thing as you are, and you won't feel alone. So just don't be afraid to talk about what you're going through. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because there will be someone there to help you.
Thank you, Leslie. And we're going to end with Gio.
Yeah, so something I want to say is that at Cal, there's so much to do. There's so much opportunity here and so many different activities you can engage in. There's so much to do that you can't do everything. Unfortunately, like we have martial arts classes, we have certain social clubs, we have research opportunities, internship opportunities. There isn't enough time to do everything in just 4 years. And so I think a lot of times people, they get overwhelmed hearing other people saying, knowing someone has a 4.0 and someone has their entire tuition paid for from the scholarships they applied, and someone's doing this and that. And my advice that I would give to incoming freshmen is to understand that you can't do everything and be explicit about what you do choose to do. Make it an active choice. Personally, for myself, I don't apply for scholarships typically, because the time I would use to apply for scholarships, I apply for internships. Internships, they're just more in my interests. I make that active choice. I choose what I want to do. And when I hear what someone else has done, I think good for them, but I don't feel bad about myself that I'm not doing everything. I've made my choices of what I want to do, and I've stuck to them. And so that's my advice. That's just how you can keep yourself from just kind of being overwhelmed by the massive amounts of opportunity that Cal affords you.
Wow, words of wisdom from all of you. Thank you so much. So we're out of time today, but thank you so much to all the panelists and to all of you who attended. If you still have any questions, feel free to email ess@berkeley.edu, or you can attend any of the 3 student events that are happening tomorrow. There will be a Taste of Berkeley Engineering session at 1 p.m. tomorrow, meet your peer advisors at 4 p.m. tomorrow, and then an engineering club showcase at 5 p.m. And you can register for all these events and all the other amazing events that are going to be happening throughout the week at engineering.berkeley.edu/Cal Week 2021. So again, thank you to all the panelists, and thank you to all the students and families that joined us today. We really hope that you choose to join the Berkeley Engineering family, and we look forward to meeting you all in the fall. Go Bears!